Well, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches. And one of the hardest parts to work out as far as the ergonomics to a lot of different shooters are just the grip on their rifle. Anyone that's seen this rifle before knows this is my Double Star Corporation, made in Winchester, Kentucky, critter getter with a Badger forearm, free float of course, baby. Target style grip so my hand can rest on it. Of course, really fine-tuned trigger group. I think it's an ad mount scope, 5x20, mil turrets, mil reticle, illuminated of course with solid focus, baby. And we got that short little rat tail there on the top. Of course, it has a standard stock on it, and 24-inch stainless barrel, baby. With that there, yeah, baby. But a lot of different people come back with this. What's really the difference between different grips? What's going to work for me, this, there, or the other? A lot of it gets back to your hand and what feels right. One of the things that you really have to get people to focus on when they're firing a semi-automatic rifle, which isn't as important with this rifle because this is actually more of a bench type rest rifle, or shooting off a bipod or rest, this, there, or the other. And you have it's made to where you can rest your hand. That's what that ledge is for. But let's take this out of the picture because that's kind of the extreme. And let's go to the Daniel Defense. Now this is the Daniel Defense 300 Blackout. Like the other one, it has a Magpul winter trigger guard just to give me a little more room. Also takes up that gap there, which I really like. Now, this one has an MOE grip on it. But you can see how the MOE grip comes up and around the back of the lower receiver. So it's going to, the distance from here to here is going to be quite a bit longer than, let's say, a stock one. And I'll give you a stock one to compare it to. Now, here's a 9mm Colt, and we can compare the two kind of side by side. Here's your standard AR-15 type platform. Grip, A1, A2, A3, A4. It's not an A1, it's got a thing. Anyway, let's don't go there. This is your standard type grip. Now, if you notice the plastic, the grip doesn't come up through here. So the distance from the back of the grip to the trigger guard, also notice that you can get much higher up on it. One thing that you're going to have to do is you've just got to basically figure out what your control parameters are on the weapon. Now you can get higher on this than you can here because there's no plastic kind of keeping you down lower. But this type grip is made for the more modern front type grip on the this, there, or the other, where you're reaching out farther forward. With this type grip, your hand's up higher, so you're more in line with the barrel and the action, this, there, or the other. Here you have a little bit more play, a little bit more actual torque being applied. But if you have your hand out farther forward, more in an isosceles type stance, it really doesn't matter. Another big thing, and I've kind of gone over this probably on the other channel, if you're a left-handed shooter, okay, my hand is a size 10. It's not the biggest in the world, it's not the smallest in the world, this, there, or the other, but I'm about a perfect size 10 in a mechanic's glove. Now, some gloves I can't wear at large, which is a size 10. Some gloves I have to go a little bit bigger. I've never had an opportunity where I had to go smaller, just to give you a size comparison between my hand, this, there, or the other. If you have an ambidextrous magazine release and it's not one of the ones that comes off the back. It's one of these like this. This is a Troy. The distance from here to here is important. Or if you're a right-handed shooter that wants to, you know, basically you know, a right-hand corner. So if you want to be totally ambidextrous with your weapon system and you want to use a mag release that's like that, you know, that's something to take into consideration. When I use this type of mag release like this Troy, I have to use my standard AR-15. These MOEs move me back that extra, you know, amount. One thing, when I'm more precise shooting, I like that distance because it gives me more of that feel. My trigger, just that trigger memory of where it is, this, there, or the other. And this goes back for years. That trigger memory was built into me way before I ever got into an AR type platform. It was actually started with the Anschutz. Now, let me show you the other type of ambidextrous magazine release. And this is just something to think about. And I can't tell you the manufacturer. Of course, this is an FN. But there are some magazine releases that tip off the back. Then that distance isn't as important. But if it's, you know, now this is a Scar. Everybody knows this. This is the light. This is a 223. But you have to think about that when you're buying your ambidextrous magazine releases. Whether it actually pivots and goes more towards the back, or whether it goes down more towards the center of the release. Now, just because the very nature of the geometry of this weapon and this one, and I know that's probably not the best example of it, you know, they're about the same distance, but that's just due to the geometry of all of this. Dirty, dirty, dirty. Gotta clean that puppy up. Now, so those are 3 different types of grips to think about. Now I know shorter grips are popular to a lot of different people, and what a shorter grip keeps you from doing is it keeps you from riding down. Like, let's say, you know, here, you know, you're down here. It makes you stay up in this groove. And I know, keep your finger off the trigger. Well, you politically correct fags, get off my channel. Or go whine to somebody who gives a fuck. Where your hand stays up higher, like it would on a Glock or something like that, and stays more in line with the barrel and the bolt, man, top assembly, man, trying to rotate, going forward, man, going woo, which is going to give you a little bit more power over it. Over this short forearm, you know, that actually helps. Because you don't have the ability to grab it up here. I'm going to grab it on the barrel, man. Going to get her done. Woo! Yeah, baby. Where with this longer, more modern forearm, let's get that top off that there survival type kit, baby. Going to get over there and throw her in there. We got a longer forearm on this, that there deal, man. Gonna ride her like that. Gonna ride that thing, baby. Gonna whoo-hoo-hoo. And that gives us the ability to do that. And one thing, I'm just going to bitch about this. Don't grab at their broom handle like that, baby. Forward grip. It's a place setter, man. If you want to use a small one of them, that's fine too. Do it like that, baby. And that kind of changes the rotation of this and makes everything feel a lot better. But that's one of the ways of dealing with this different type grip. A lot of people don't talk about it. In fact, hell, I don't know anybody that talks about it. But it's just something after you've shot a lot of rounds, you notice. When you go from this type setup to this type setup, of course this is more hand filling. It's a wider type grip. You've got that there, indention there, and it's, you know, palm swell, all that type stuff. And then you've got your, you know, basic. That there checkering baby on the front of it. But, you know, that's just something to think about. The biggest pet peeve I have is when I'm out on the range and I can shoot with this grip, I can shoot with this grip, I can shoot with the other grip. The biggest thing that pisses me off on an AR platform is that little gap right there. I mean, I've got more wear on my finger and more problems over that little gap right there than anything else. And you can see the Magpul Winter doesn't have that, it fills it in. That's one of my, one of the biggest advocates of that setup. Even if you just use the polymer one, I mean, you don't have to get the aluminum one. Just throw the polymer one on there, it fills that void and just makes it a hell of a lot more comfortable to shoot. Even if you're using a standard type, you know, right there, man, AR-15 type grip, baby. Anyway, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and those are just some things to think about when you're purchasing a grip and thinking about how all these different grips relate to you firing the weapon. The one thing you're going to have to do is you're just going to have to fire the damn weapon. You know, you're just going to have to get behind it, drive it, and see if that actually works with your setup. This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and have a good one.